Hey, I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. There's a big honking mark, subcutaneous, deep reddening tissue on his occipital. If I hit somebody in the back of the head, it'd be right there.
The official record begins with a body, not a conclusion. Not a cause, just the observation that something struck the back of Nolan Wells' head hard enough to leave a mark deep under the skin. And that his hands, his arms, showed no sign he fought back.
Tyler Cox, the lawyer for several of the young men, with the law firm Taylor and Cox, him being the Cox. Also with us, another veteran trial lawyer, Edward Pulsick, attorney for the boys as well. Actually, they're not boys. They're adults in the eyes of the law due to their age. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us tonight. My first question.
Think of a boat idling away from a barrier island at 4:30 in the afternoon, while somewhere behind it, on that same flat sand, a young man is still standing. That is the image this entire case turns on. Not a theory, not a rumor, a timestamp.
Now we're getting somewhere. How can you prove that to me other than them telling you? I assume you've got GPS tracking and the call to SITO?
We have witnesses, among other things, but I can also tell you this. They were off the island at 4:30 p.m., and Nolan Wells was seen alive by multiple people at 6 p.m., still on the island. And I'm sure Tyler would be happy to elaborate on that, but this is a no doubt.
The defense position is simple. Nolan Wells was last seen alive on Horn Island around 6:00 p.m. on July 4th. The boat carrying his 3 friends had already left at 4:30. If both facts hold, the math should end the speculation. But it hasn't. The paperwork already knew.
So Nancy, look, we have had multiple witnesses reach out to us, 2 confirmed witnesses that saw Nolan Wells on the island around 6 p.m. on July 4th. Well after the Triton, as you said, left around 4:30.
2 witnesses reportedly came forward. They say they saw Nolan on the island after the Triton departed. They say they knew him. They say they told investigators. But the identity of those witnesses, their exact vantage point, and what they were doing at the time remains shielded.
For instance, did your witnesses know Nolan? Can they identify him? Because I'm looking right at this and I cannot identify if the male behind the female on the white, the female wearing a white hat, I can't tell if that's Nolan or not. It's a very blurry photo. I can't make it out. So, do your witnesses...
That matters. Because in any forensic review, a witness is only as strong as the conditions of the sighting. Distance, lighting, obstruction, familiarity. A blurry photograph is not an identification. Neither is a name dropped during a cable segment.
Nolan. Hey, control room, show me that picture of Nolan on the boat. He's bent over. All I can see are his legs and his behind. The only reason I think that's Nolan is because it matches his swimsuit. Did they see that? How can they identify Nolan? First to you, Tyler.
Well, I'm not sure if the witnesses saw that picture that you just put on screen, but I can confirm to you.
The photo from the boat shows a figure bent over, legs, a swimsuit. Nothing else definitive. The attorneys say the witnesses identified Nolan from life, not from that image. But the question of how they could be certain at that distance, at that hour, remains unanswered.
Have they had a chance to discuss their recollections with each other before they came to police?
Well, I'm sure they did. Nancy, look, they did what they were supposed to do, and they spoke to police officers. And you know as well as I do that if investigators or a DA's office had any sort of probable cause to make an arrest in a case like this, they would. They would have.
Or they may be gathering.
And then there is the detail that changes the shape of the entire case. The 2 witnesses know each other. They were together that day. They had the chance to compare recollections before speaking to law enforcement. That does not make them liars. It makes their account harder to verify.
You know what? I'm going to jump ahead. But regarding the body, regarding Nolan's body, we've heard all sorts of inflammatory things. But the one thing that, well, many things are very interesting and probative. For instance, why was Nolan's neck of so much interest to the original medical examiner that it was removed? His foot wasn't removed. His toe wasn't removed. His ear wasn't removed.
The body itself tells a stranger story. The medical examiner removed the lungs. That is routine in a possible drowning. But the examiner also removed the throat. Not the foot, not the ear, the throat. In a death where blunt force to the back of the head is already documented, the throat becomes the louder witness.
What was curious about the throat, Ed? Were there marks on the throat? Was there a ligature mark? Was there manual strangulation? Was there a compression? Were there bruises? Were there scratches? I don't know. Was a hyoid missing? I could go on, but I won't. Do either of you know what was of interest to the medical examiner in the removal of Nolan's throat?
Why remove the throat? To check for a ligature mark, for manual strangulation, for compression, for a fractured hyoid. The question was asked directly. The attorneys had no answer. They said they are not scientists. Fair, but someone is, and someone knows.
Sure. So they didn't know Katie, and they believe that Nolan didn't know Katie before that day. But you have to remember, once they started getting suspicious that Nolan wasn't with them anymore, they start asking themselves, okay, well, where's Nolan? They start texting everyone that they knew. Hey, have you seen Nolan? Do you know where Nolan is? Did he make it back home? All before they called Christine Wells that night, they start asking everybody. And so eventually they end up getting, through mutual friends, whoever, Katie's number. And so I believe it was maybe either Snapchat or text message. They got in communication with Katie. And Katie says, I don't know. We thought he was leaving with y'all. Well, I don't believe that's the case, obviously, because he did not leave with our boys. We don't know what happened to him, but that's Katie's statement.
The story of the young woman adds another layer of friction. First, the friends said they did not know her. Then, it emerged they were texting her. The attorneys insist there is no contradiction. They call it a flawed premise, but the sequence is clear. The friends asked around, got her number, and called her that same night.
And when you go to the island, everything starts to make sense. The first picture was maybe not so accurate. If you go to the part of Horn Island where, these events all occurred, you see that there are really no trees on that part of the island. It's flat, it's open, there are no visual obstructions, so there's no trees, there's no shelter, there's no nothing, and it was broad daylight with thousands of people there. Meaning there was no opportunity for foul play during daylight hours. And that's where this whole thing starts to unravel.
The island itself has become a character in this story. Flat, open, treeless in the relevant section, broad daylight with thousands of people nearby. The defense says that eliminates opportunity for foul play. But the counterpoint is sharper. The boats were packed close together, and nobody was paying attention.
To hide there anyway. Guys, let me move to the boat, the Triton. Has the boat been searched by authorities?
I do not believe that it has been searched by authorities, but it's been available to authorities this entire time. If authorities wanted to come see it, they're more than able to, and have been.
The Triton has never been searched by investigators. That is the admitted fact. Luminol has not been used. No alternative light source. No cadaver dog. No scent dog. The boat has been available the entire time. So why has no one walked onto it with a black light and a swab?
Luminol or alternative light has been used on the boat. Can you just tell me? Yes, no. It's not your client's fault. It's law enforcement's fault if they haven't done it.
If authorities thought that there was something to find on that boat, don't you think this far out they would have already done it?
I would think in the ordinary course of an investigation into potential foul play, I would have gone out there and done it. Just
if you believe there was potential foul play.
Just to say, I searched it and it was clean. I didn't find any blood.
Law enforcement could have searched it, should have searched it. In any ordinary investigation into potential foul play, the boat is the first stop, not the last. The failure is not on the defense, it is on the process. But that failure leaves an evidentiary void where an answer should be.
Have you heard the original SITO call from Mississippi Department Marine Resources? Have either of you listened to that call? Because I've heard it so many times, I'm now jaded based on what people think they're hearing, based on enhancements. I even had my own producer, who does not have a dog in this fight, no skin in the game, enhance it. But I want to hear what you guys know about the SITO call. My mind is open.
Look, anybody can adjust the gain. Anybody can enhance it or sweeten it. But it doesn't change the fact that just because you put words over some audio means that those words are now attributable to what.
Then there is the SITO call. The recording that some hear as a normal marine radio transmission and others hear as something entirely different. The defense says the audio has been manipulated, enhanced, sweetened. They say no mention of Nolan or a body exists in the original call. But once hundreds of versions circulate, the original becomes impossible to find.
Nancy, you've been trying this case for over 30 days. The facts are the facts are the facts. These boys had nothing to do with the death of Nolan Wells.
Okay, when was the timestamp on that video?
Nancy, I'm going to answer it this way.
Yes.
We don't think that you're accusing us of lying. We don't feel that way. We're just simply saying this. And it's okay. You're asking legitimate investigative questions. And we don't fault you for that. But here's what we're saying. It's been over 30 days. There has never been one shred, one iota, one piece, nothing. There is no.
The defense repeats one phrase like a shield. The facts are the facts. 30 days, no evidence, no charge. That is true. But absence of a charge is not proof of innocence. It is proof that the evidence is still incomplete. The paperwork already knew.
Anybody, can anybody tell me where Nolan's phone is?
Good question.
Right now, as we sit here today.
Has it ever been turned over to authorities?
No, it has not.
You're sure?
Yeah. I believe that Ben Crump, using local counsel, sent a letter out just last night, gave it to Don Lemon on his show, and Don Lemon on his show confirmed that they have not given the phone to investigators.
The most revealing detail may be the one no one is holding. Nolan Wells' phone has never been turned over to investigators. Not by the family. Not by counsel. Ben Crump's own letter, read on air, confirmed it. A phone that would show location, calls, messages, and final movements. Still missing from evidence.
I think it should be, and I think it should be asked for. Look, I am not stirring the Nolan Wells phone pot with you. I got bigger fish to fry with you two gentlemen. I'm just curious. I mean, wouldn't that put a lot to bed if we could look at the phone and look at the GPS tracker on it, look at the route? I mean, look. Yeah, I know where my twins are right now because they got Live 360. Yay.
Nancy,
why can't we look at that? I mean,
Nancy, we want more evidence. Let's get it all. That's the thing. That's the beauty of it. When you're telling the truth and you're representing three innocent young men, the beauty of it is you want more evidence.
We gave our phones up. We let them do a phone dump of our phones.
Which I find very, very interesting. Because a phone dump, everybody shows where the phone's been, what time it was there. It's not hard to do. It pings off phone cell towers, and you can tell as it progresses along. Not hard. Easy.
The attorneys for the three young men say they'd surrendered their phones. Full dump, cell tower pings, Live 360. Everything that is a meaningful contrast. One side gave up its digital record. The other side has not. That asymmetry now sits at the center of the case.
I truly believe that submitting to polygraphs or having the boat searched by law enforcement with scent dogs and cadaver dogs and luminol would go a long way to stopping the speculation. But again, all that aside, if I could speak to or hear from those witnesses placing Nolan alive at 6 after your clients had left the island, I feel that the investigation would take a different turn. in any event. We do not want to pile on.
Polygraphs would not resolve it. Neither would a boat search alone. But taken together, phone data, forensic testing, a proper search of the vessel, the speculation could end. The problem is none of those steps have all been completed, and until they are, the timeline will keep bending without breaking.
They say they don't know the answer to. And they could very well be telling the truth. So when will we know the truth? And my burning question at this hour is, if those witnesses are telling the truth, that Nolan Wells was alive at 6 p.m., how did he die? Who was the last person with him?
So the question remains, if witnesses placed Nolan alive at 6, how did he die? Who was the last person with him? And why, a month later, does the public still not know? The paperwork already knew.
If you know or think you know anything regarding this case, and I implore the FBI to enter the investigation, dial 228-769-3063. Repeat, 228-769-3063.
The Mississippi Department of Marine Resources holds the original SITO call. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office holds the investigative file. Ask for the search warrant return on the Triton. Ask one question in the comments: why was the throat removed, and what did the histology report say?